Do you want to slay your NaNoWriMo goals this November? Well, I've got 5 tips to help you do that, and the first one's right here. Industrial grade coffee! National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo, is a community-led challenge that takes place every November. Participants will aim to write the first draft of their novel, or at least 50,000 words of it, in just 30 days. Over the past few years, the organization has had to wade through its fair share of controversy, but still, thousands of authors this year will still be sharpening their pencils and ready to take part in the challenge. To be clear, this is a contest with no tangible prize. Those who complete the challenge will walk away with nothing more than a completed manuscript and a sense of self-worth. If you want to knuckle down and binge write a novel, then stick with me, and at the end of this video I'll show you how you can win an actual prize this NaNoWriMo. Now, when I mentioned getting loaded up on coffee at the beginning, I was only half kidding. I'm not saying that you have to get jacked up on caffeine just to make your way through NaNoWriMo, but you are going to have to plan ahead to know when you are going to steal those precious minutes or hours to do some writing. If you can't skip your lunch hour and write at your desk, if you can't squeeze in a chapter between dinner and putting the kids to sleep, then I'm afraid you're gonna have to wake up earlier or go to sleep later. However, this isn't a forever situation, it's just a month. And if you need some chemical help to get those brain cogs turning, may I recommend Dog Roast Black Coffee. I don't just drink black coffee because I'm some sort of hard man, I'm just at an age where I can't be taking in that much sugar and dairy. Pow! Next tip. Stick to one POV character. There's a common thread in Nano forums where authors make a fundamental mistake at the very beginning and it comes back to bite them in the butt, and that is using too many POV characters. I suspect their reasoning is solid if they have multiple characters and multiple storylines. If they ever feel like they're running into writer's block or lose interest in a story, they can jump between strands and keep the cogs turning. But there's the problem. More often than not, this leads to writers starting a lot of stories that start meandering after just a chapter or two. You might hit your word count this way, but at what cost? After all, this isn't called National Write the First 2 Chapters of 8 Different Stories Set in Roughly the Same World Month. If you want to tackle NaNoWriMo with the tunnel vision of an elite athlete, then I suggest sticking to just one viewpoint character and focusing on their story. And never forget your story structure basics. Your character wants something, there's something standing in the way, they have to overcome obstacles, and then they have to learn something new about themselves that changes their outlook. This is the basis for almost all stories, and I'd encourage you to stick to this. Unless you're a seasoned author, I wouldn't add any extra difficulty by trying to reinvent the wheel while also writing an entire book in 30 days. Next tip, establish your story markers. I'm not going to stand here and tell you to plan your novel beat by beat from nose to tail. If you're a planner, great, you've got this covered already. If you're a pantser, someone who likes to write by the seat of their pants, that's great too. But you need to make sure you remain in beast mode throughout November and churning out those pages and keeping your manuscript moving in the right direction. For that, you want to establish story markers that you can aim for at all points of your writing. At the very least, you should have a plan for an inciting incident, a midpoint, and a climax. You can plan them out as set pieces. An inciting incident that takes place within a police station and your hero under arrest, a midpoint in the Sahara where your hero is on the verge of dehydration, and a climax that takes place in a cargo plane 30,000 feet in the air. Or you can plan out these story markers as character beats. Gareth knows that he wants to date beautiful women. He lands a job at a beauty pageant. He ends up in a fling with Ms. Nebraska, but at the end he realizes that he's actually in love with the kooky choreographer. These story markers can change down the road, but real story beasts know what they're aiming for every time they sit down at the keyboard. Next tip, break down your word count into daily goals. Speaking of knowing where you're heading, real creative monsters know what they need to achieve with each writing session. So don't just tell yourself you're going to write every hour God sends you in November. Down that road lies ever-dwindling productivity. Instead, you want to figure out what times of the week you can realistically write in. Break down your target word count over those days to get an average daily word count goal. Now, I use Reedsy Studio to write. It's a creative writing app that you can use for free. It has a goals and tracking function that does all this for me. I just set my word count target, then I pick what days of the week I will regularly write on. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are bad for me, so I'll select Wednesday through to Monday. Then it'll calculate how many words I have to hit on each of my assigned writing days. If I do manage to squeeze in some extra writing or overshoot my target, my daily goal will reduce. So it's like a little game I play with myself to try drop my average remaining daily word count to as low a number as possible. Speaking of gamifying the situation, this is my final tip. Real beasts play for keeps, so give yourself some actual incentives. Now, not everyone can just flip a switch and become productive for 30 days in a row. To give some real stakes to this contest, you need to look deep inside you and figure out what motivates you. Are you driven by shame and embarrassment? Then just tell everyone that you're writing a book this November. Keep on harping about it. Then every time you're finding it hard to write, just imagine what it'll be like when you sit down with them over Christmas and tell them that you chickened out from writing your book. "Oh, I got really busy at work," you'll say. "Sure, they'll reply, judgingly. Or if you're more of a carrot aficionado than a stick fearer, you can work towards some actual, real, tangible prize. If you need a prize, how about this? For NaNoWriMo 2024, you can win $100 of credit just by writing your manuscript in Reedsy Studio. That's right, my beasts. If you complete 50,000 words in our app this November, you will get $50 to use towards Reedsy fees when you hire an editor or a book cover designer. If you manage to hit 80,000 words in the month, you'll win $100 of credit. How's that for an incentive? Click on the link in this video to find out more about winning this prize. Terms and conditions naturally apply. So there you have it, 5 tips for going beast mode this NaNoWriMo. Carve out time in your day or load up on coffee, stick to one POV character, establish your story markers beforehand, break down your word count into daily goals, and give yourself some real stakes. Again, you can find details about our $100 prize giveaway with a link on the video or in the description below. So let's knuckle down and greet November like an absolute literary menace. Go beasts.